Hello, sadly today we are doing the commemoration of Chibok girl's abduction. It's 8 years. Alia, can you even believe it's 8 years? You were 12 when the abduction happened, you're 20 now. The youngest amongst the Chibok girls that were abducted, she was 15 at that time, about to turn 16. So she's 23 now. In a few months, she will be 24. And she has lived 50%. What's that now? Half of her former years before now in captivity. She was free for 15 years. Now she has been in captivity, for 8 years. It's really sad what we are doing in our nation. And today, even right now, it's you have the insecurity more increased. Today there was a press conference for the AK-9 train passengers that were taken away, and their families are coming out and crying and saying that please, their loved ones should be brought back by government. And there's such an eerie silence from government, a very insolent silence of they do not care, it's none of their business. We are talking about less than 10-11 months to the general election, and yet the government is so uncaring because they do not think that the citizens have any power to do anything to them. And so people will be taken away. The president wouldn't say anything. They don't care. Families are crying for their loved ones. It's Chibok playing out all over again. It's Chibok. The whole pain, the whole grief. It's so sad that there's really no value in the Nigerian life. I would remember on the 1000th day of Chibok girl's abduction, my daughter, who is 20, she's the one actually behind the camera. She doesn't like her face in the camera, and I'm respecting that. She wrote something. She said that as long as Chibok girls are in captivity, we all are in captivity. And sadly, that's where we are right now. We are all Chibok girls now. We are all victims waiting to happen. Being a victim in Nigeria is no longer a matter of if you will be a victim. It's a matter, sadly, of when will you be a victim? When is it going to be your turn? Because it's ongoing. Even when things just seem a bit quiet, you know that it's either the terrorists are changing their strategy or they are planning something big. I remember just a few days before the train attack, I was having a conversation with someone, and we were talking about, okay, the attacks are sort of like reducing, like, yeah, you've not heard them, they might be changing or planning something, and then boom, a few days later we got the train attack. Well, Alia, how do you feel about that? There's a video that came out, and one of the passengers that have been abducted, she's actually a student of Kaduna State University. She's reading agriculture. What do you feel in terms of what is happening to citizens just like you, like youth of Nigeria, just like you, in this unfortunate and tragic situation?
Obviously it's like sad and stuff, but like it's just more like of a feeling because it's like happening so much. Like it's just more of a feeling like you're just like waiting for your turn. Like how do I say, like obviously like you can be careful, I'm sure everyone's trying to be careful, but it's just like a feeling of like everyone's waiting for their turn. Like I feel like even while I'm home, like I just like anything can happen, and like if something happens, like you're not like shocked, you're just like, oh, like it happened to me. So it's like literally sometimes I'm just like, I could actually get kidnapped like before I go back to like school. Or like, how I was saying I wanted to go to Kano, and then in my head I was like, if something happens, like that's life. Like it's happened to so many people. Like it happening to me is not like special. Like this could easily like happen to me, and I feel like that's what like a lot of people. I hope that's what a lot of people feel like, because it's just like. It just happens so much. I feel like we're like desensitized until something big happens. Like all the little train attacks, everybody was fine with it until like the big one where like everyone. So like anything small, everyone's just like, oh, okay. And this happened like with me with the Chibok girls. Like I feel like when everyone was just dying, this was when I was still back home. Like I just like zoned out, and it just became numbers. It's like, okay, this person got kidnapped. It's like, okay, he got kidnapped. Like you don't really like understand the effect. Yeah, it's just like, oh, somebody got kidnapped, and somebody got kidnapped. Okay, somebody got kidnapped, someone else got kidnapped. It's just okay, and it's just like it literally didn't even bother me anymore. like after like a while, I was just like, oh okay, so people are just getting kidnapped. Like that's the way it is. So I feel like that's how I feel like with this whole situation. It's just like it's so weird. It's just like a matter of time. I just generally feel like something's going to happen to me. Not like in a bad way, but it's just like something's going to happen.
Yeah,
it's
just
happening so
thinking,
much.
oh, you'll be the next victim.
Yeah,
I've
like
had that too. Since and even whenever attack happens, I'm always like, okay, why was it not? Can this just be done and over with? Why was it not me? Why was it somebody else? Okay, oh, this is prolonging. I know this is going to be my turn one day. There's no how it's going to be happening to other people.
Yeah.
And for me, that was why in 2014 when I would say, who is next? I would ask that question. I would say, yesterday's survivors yesterday's victims rather were once survivors. Today's victims were yesterday's survivors, and tomorrow's victims will be today's survivors. I'm looking at myself thinking, who is next? That question was really for me. I'm like, who is next? It could just literally be your turn. And it's really sad that this is where we have put our children, because what you're talking about when you reflect, that was you were 12 when Chibok girls abduction happened, and you left Nigeria when you were 15 to go to UK to continue with your A levels, and within that period between 12 and 15, you're having to think of a lot of attacks. Oh, it could happen to even get used to it, because like I said to some people, some people feel that, is it that we're becoming so inhuman? I said, look, you need to protect yourself. That's what is happening. Your sanity needs protection, because there's so much of how you're going to take You've heard of these killings. You've heard, you've cried. It's so heartbreaking, heart-wrenching, and even your mental health is unable to keep up with all of these things that are happening. So sometimes you just have to sort of like, you're becoming desensitized, but it's in a way to protect yourself and all of that. But it's really sad what we're doing. But what do you think about people who never feel anything because it has not happened to them, or only feel something when it happens to them?
Like I feel like to a certain degree, like everyone's kind of selfish in life, and I feel like that's just like human selfish nature, and it's like that only works, like in my opinion, that only works when you're in like a developed country. Like if you're in America and then something happens,
because we are seeing your hand now, your hand is blocking my face.
Oh, okay.
I think that's okay, sir.
Yeah, I feel like if we're in America and like you're selfish like that, it's like it's okay, because there's always someone to like not be selfish, and the government's not selfish, the police, you know what I mean, and like saving lives. But I feel like that doesn't work in Nigeria, because like you being selfish, like you're just only essentially harming yourself, because like if you're not gonna say anything, no one else is going to say anything. So when it's your turn, no one else is gonna say anything. Everyone else is just gonna be selfish, like you were selfish. So I feel like as Nigerians, like we need to understand, like you coming out to say something is you coming out to say something for you. Like you're doing what's right for you, not because it's already happened to the other person. Like more time, like you can't save the other person, especially in Nigeria, like with the way things are going. So like you're coming out to say something. So like.
Yeah,
so it's like when it's your turn, like something can be done. So it's like you actually saying something is selfish to you, and you're helping yourself in future. So it's like you're not being selfish, you're just being like not silly, but like you're just being like you're not helping yourself in the long run. I think
absolutely. And I think you really coined it, you really put it aptly, which is to say that look, and one of the things I always say to people, I say, look, when we come out, we're not doing it for people who are already gone. Those who have been killed, they will not be killed again. The next to be killed are those of us who are alive. So whatever we're coming out to say or make demands, it's actually for us, so that we do not become victims or be seen as potential victims. And many people do not understand that. They say injustice to one is injustice to all. When you keep quiet when it happens to another person, you embolden the terrorists to keep attacking, and then also you enable the government to keep abdicating their responsibilities. And then when it comes to you, who is there to talk? And this reminds me of an experience that I'm going to share here. There was a time where a member of the civil defense, he was killed by policemen. They took him. I think they say he did a wrong turning, a traffic offense. They took him to their station, and then they beat him up till he died. He died in front of his wife and 2 sons. The kids were, I think they were below 6. And so when there were protests, there was a protest organized, to make demands for justice for him. And I was there, and when we were talking and everything, while we're doing the whole protest, one of the sisters, his junior sister, stood up, and she was like angry, like, why are people not here? Why? See the way people are going about their business. Somebody has been killed by police. And I said to her, why should they be here? Why? And she was so shocked, because I picked the mic and I said to her, why should they be here? She looked at me and said, why do they? And then I asked her, I said to her, have you ever come out when another person was attacked? Because a few weeks before that protest of her brother's own, we were actually doing a protest of a young girl who was raped to death by her uncle from the same state that she was. I asked her, did you come out? She was silent. I said, now, because it's your own brother, it has affected you. You now have a sense of entitlement and feel that people should come out. But when it affected other people, you were nowhere to be found. And I think it's that selfish thing that a lot of people, human beings are inherently selfish, like you did say. But and also, like you did say, in a country like Nigeria, we cannot afford that selfishness. In countries where things work, where there's a government that cares, people can afford that selfishness, knowing fully well that the social contract between the people and the government will ensure that the government does the right thing. But here in Nigeria, the social contract is not ensuring, because the government, they feel they can do whatever they want to do without being accountable to anyone, and that's really sad. So in your own so what do you think, for example, the Nigerian youth should do more of, maybe people of your younger generation, and what is there something that they should do, or are they just supposed to give up, or what is it?
Literally just say, like, do what you can. Like, if there's like something going on, there's a protest, just always, if you have to like go out and protest, if you want to start your protest, you can do that. Or you can literally, like, social media is a big thing nowadays. Always like ask people on social media, like, just like keep the hashtag going, keep the engagement up, like try and see what you can do. You can write letters to people in power, you can do protests, you can just, let's say, like, just contribute in some way that you can. I would say that you can do.
So we all have to do something, no matter how young you are. And by the way, your first protest in Nigeria, you were 12 when you started going for protests in Nigeria. And I remember, was it March 2020 during the George Floyd, I think that's it? Yeah. Protest. You actually invited me to a protest in Aberdeen. Every one of us, it must matter to us, and let's do everything we can to ensure that we have a country that works for us. Thank you. Bye.